Hi, it's May. What I'm about to share with you is very painful for me, but I'm doing it so others can avoid making the same mistakes I did. I made 5 mistakes that almost sank me when I was transferred from New York to London to start a new business for my employer. After I tell you about these, I'll also share the 3 things I did to recover and my 5 takeaways from the whole experience. So please pay close attention. I do not want to have to revisit this again. Starting with the mistakes. Mistake number 1 was that I neglected key internal stakeholders. I was off to a great start with the corporate clients and bankers who were my main stakeholders. But I neglected to cultivate the sales and trading side, which worked with the investors and had a very different set of needs and expectations from the bankers. I naively thought that I had sales and trading covered because my boss and my colleagues had great relationships, but it turns out that I needed to have my own. Mistake number 2, put too many eggs into one basket. My near-term mission was to secure an early win. The first opportunity that came along was a complicated deal with a high degree of difficulty. And I wanted to believe that this deal would work. As in, I want to believe, right? But what that meant was I became so invested in it that when it ultimately fell through, I had used up loads of credibility chips with my boss, as well as with the trading desk. And they weren't big fans to begin with. Worse yet, I had done the same thing on the hiring side. A key part of my staffing strategy centered around hiring a really top name in the business who was expensive, but really great. At the 11th hour, he got cold feet and didn't join us, leaving us with a much more junior team and a primarily internal one. Not only was that another black eye from my boss's perspective, I also ended up having to cover that region of Europe myself. Now, by this time, I was really feeling under a lot of pressure, and my way of dealing with it was by being stoic and tough on the outside, but engaging in some serious negative self-talk on the inside. This resulted in my next 2 mistakes. So mistake number 3, I became isolated. Because I felt under attack and at the same time I was really determined to put things right, I became very defensive without even realizing it. I felt like I didn't have anyone to confide in. I tried to do it all on my own. And then rather than reach out to others and get help, I became isolated, and yes, I was even kind of paranoid. Mistake number 4 was that I then kept redoubling my efforts. Now, I've always been a bit of a Marine, thinking that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So I kept redoubling my efforts, which I was able to do because I have a lot of stamina and perseverance. And that is exactly what allowed me to spread myself way too thin. As I say, our strengths become our weaknesses when they're taken to extremes. I was surviving on very little sleep, no exercise, and loads of caffeine, and this did not make for clear thinking and good decision making. And this led to mistake number 5. I alienated my boss and my colleagues. Because I was working so hard, I was getting feedback that I was too serious and needed to lighten up. Well, at the end of the year, I decided this is the time to show I know how to have fun. So I decided to throw a big Christmas party for the team. Unfortunately, I didn't stop at inviting just my team. I ended up inviting the whole department, including my peers and the people that reported to my peers. I did get my boss's permission, and he was initially okay with it, but when my peers found out, they were really upset. Who was I to invite their teams without consulting them? And what made it worse was that when everybody showed up at my house, it was pretty obvious that this was indeed the May show, swanning around, giving the holiday toast. I even forgot to ask my boss to make some remarks, and by the end, I had alienated him too. Ironically, I've always been known for having great people skills and getting along with everyone, and yet here I was, alone and unloved. As it turns out, I was trying so hard that I dug myself into a great big hole. So, how did I dig myself out of the hole? Well, 3 things. Number 1, I got rested. I took 4 weeks off at Christmas, lay in the sun, got some rest, and recovered my perspective. 2, I played to my strengths. I used my people skills to co-opt the traders and my peers. I focused on building alliances, working collaboratively, communicating with all my stakeholders, and basically getting everyone to work toward a common goal. And number 3, I leveraged the team. I stopped going it alone, and I relied more on my team. And you know what? My lovely team started winning business and delivering results. We ended up in the top 3 in our second year, and everybody was really happy. Let me leave you with my 5 takeaways from that very difficult year, in case you are ever in the same situation of moving to a new location to build a new business from scratch. Takeaway number 1, collaborate. Don't go it alone. Form alliances, partner with people, form a community with a common goal. Takeaway 2, communicate. Educate others on your business and what it takes to succeed. Otherwise, they won't know. Takeaway 3, manage your stakeholder relationships. Understand their needs. Understand what success looks like for them. Treat them like a special kind of client and keep them on side. Ideally, you want to make your stakeholders a part of the solution. Takeaway 4, be smart about how you use your time and energy. Working harder is not always the answer. You want to leverage the talent around you and take care of yourself. Remember, you are the golden goose. And takeaway 5 is have multiple irons in the fire at all times, especially when you're looking for those quick wins. And make sure you have many people helping you to look. Finally, take heart. As you can see from my example, you can make loads of mistakes and things can still turn out okay, as long as you learn from those mistakes. Please share your views and any other useful learning experiences in the comments area below. That way we can learn and grow together.